Alright, so I got this piece of wood. I want to make a shift knob. It's got some weird kind of heights and angles to it. It's also covered in this wax to protect it. My main thought is basically I wanted to get a shift knob close to the shape and size that I wanted to make. Trying to make something a little complex and, you know, not just a round ball, but something that's got some curvature to it. So I ordered this on Amazon for like 15 bucks. Basically just going to be using this as a stencil. It looks like it might even try and be the fake wood that I'm actually using. Just like a walnut burl, I believe is what it was. Or I can't remember. Something or other. But I want to find the best grain for the top and the back of it. The part that I'll be seeing the most of. So to do that, I'm first going to have to get this wax off of here to see what exactly I'm looking at. Alright, basically I wanted to melt off that wax so it wouldn't just gunk up my orbital sanding pad. So I'm just going to give it a quick once over, see what it looks like all smoothed out. You can see there's plenty of ridges right there. So I'm just going to smooth it out and see what it looks like. I managed to get that done. See what I mean about the wax building up on it? I just hit one little piece and it did that. Then I'm going to run over it one more time with a fresh pad. Just like a couple seconds worth. I'm trying to line the holes up and get this thing to shoot out that way, but it's getting all over me. Very interesting wood chip. And when it heats up, it smells very strange as well. It smells like I almost want to say hot dogs. It smells like cooking meat. But I think that has something to do with years of smoking meats and stuff using wood chips. Well, if you're getting it all nice and cleaned off, checking out the sides, some nice grainage. Just looking at it, looking about the grooves and how they'll taper down. I think it's pretty obvious which side I'm going to use for the top. So it'll be that one. Now as front, if I make the front there, have it come back here, it'd be nice to know if these guys, due to the graining, would follow the curvature of the back of the handle down and kind of give it that kind of layered, droopy, grainy, layered look. I don't have a lot of room to work with here, so I think I'm going to have to put somewhere like right in here. Let's see what it looks like with some pen marks on. Alright, you can kind of see what I'm talking about here, especially with the reflection of the lights. Trying to get as best lit as I can. Alright, you're going to have to deal with it. So you can see what I'm talking about as far as having it droop down the back side of the curve. I want it to get the wood grain to give it this kind of weird droopy. And looking at this guy here, and the way that the grains go here, if I'm cutting them off, hopefully that'll leave me with a cool little backspin to it. So I think what I'm going to do, giving myself plenty of room here on either side, because I might like it a little wider, in the future after I get it done here. So I'm going to put it out. The base of it, the side of it, is sticking out. I just happen to have a ruler sitting here. Base of it's sticking out 2,000, or what is that? 20 millimeters. You guys are way into millimeters, right? Alright, fine. So let me just give it an inch. Okay, that'll put the center right here, about right there in the grain. Should be just fine. So I'm going to put it 1 inch in, 3/4 of an inch. 24 hundredths. There we go. Right there. And we'll go same on the other side. I'm trying to make this nice and even here. 24 hundredths. And 24 hundredths ish. Somewhere ish there. Ish. Alright, so let's make a little box, shall we? Boom. Let's see how far forward we need this guy. So we'll give ourselves plenty of room in the back end. Back here. Let's stick with that tradition and go to 2400s. Right there. Alright. Now that sticks out quite a bit in front of the other one. So looking straight down on it, not that you can see, but right about there. So I'm going to bring it up to about here. And no, this isn't level or straight. Basically just carving out a box for myself. So now that I know this is almost as tall, exactly as tall as I want it to be, I'm going to go ahead and brush out this side. Like that. I'm already starting to see a shift knob. Boom. So there's my initial shift knob. Scary, I know. I know. I too made this. So staying with tradition. Just gonna keep on keeping on. Give myself a nice visual idea. And I can 86 this. And 86 this. It's nice to give yourself a visual when you start flipping stuff around. You don't want to cut off the wrong jazz. Alright. Preliminary stance. Stance, because that's the right word, right? Stance. Alright. Let me get this dude cut out. See if I can at least. Ah, that's better. Okay. Never tried this before. Let me give it a shot. There you go. Look at my beautiful skill saw skills. It's kind of cool just in and of itself. Alright, so I've got my initial roughed out soon to be shifter knob. You can feel it already, man. I should just put a set screw in there and just crank it on and wear it down. No, that wouldn't be any fun. It smells really good. Alright, next phase. managed to get the majority of that curve out. I'm going to start working on this one. I just want to change pads. Doing a quick little zip for the rest of them. Just this one side and that one side I wanted to really fix and see where I'm at. I think that's about all I'm going to do. So I'm going to have to sand the hell out of it anyway. So for right now, it's looking pretty good. Pretty good. I think so at least. So now it's already kind of going better than I thought it would. Don't really want to say that because, you know, when you say stuff like that, that's when the S hits the F. Yeah, I just tried to hold it up and see what I could get by just holding it here. I don't think that was such a good idea. So I'm going to redo it from the other side. Again, this is just rough estimates. I'm going to be hand doing it. So I'm going to say that this guy, I'm going to go nice and wide here. This dude, it's going to be a fine cut. Yeah, something like that, right? I'll put in there. It does fit in there. From where I see, it fits in there. So that's all that really matters, right? As long as I'm happy with what I'm doing in my life. Alright, so that being said, that being the thickest part of the whole thing, I feel like I can chop all this other stuff off. Now, if I can, hey, I don't have a saw, so I can't like saw that. All I have is that skill saw and a sander. That's all I got. So I'm going to have to figure out how to make this into this. I figured there's going to be a lot of hand sanding, which there is definitely going to be a lot of hand sanding. What I want to get it down to is its lengthest, its widest part right here. And then I can try and cut a little bit more out here. And maybe a little bit off the back, as you can see, like that. So I mean, my whole point is to basically try and get that out of there. And then work with this. This is just stuff that I know I can get rid of right off the bat. Big chunks. So as you see, I just went like this. Just like that. Gave myself plenty of room. These are the big chunks that I can take off, you know. So coming from here, do the same thing. Get it lined up as best I can. And then just big chunks. Big chunks. I don't know, big chunks, but definitely wider than what you're going for. So as you can see, I'm already lining stuff up here, so I can line up my other mark there. I'll come in a little bit here. There's no reason not to. It's so wide right there, so as long as I'm sticking to my, giving myself about a 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch, somewhere in there. Yeah. Just keep on doing that, right? This thing seems to go a little high since it juts out like that. Over here, it feels a little high. So I think I'm gonna match it, since it's so far forward and this is all going away. I'm gonna come down to about here and then take this out like that. So I'm not interfering with the widest part still. It should be up here. This little nose part is going to be this part. So I don't want to start chopping off extra stuff, extra roundabout parts like this stuff. That's going to be the hard curve part that I'm going to... The reason I'm getting this kind of knob is because I want some kind of challenge. Not just a round ball, something like that. So this dude, nice and high. Looks like I'm coming in a little thin on the inside, but I'm not, I swear. And right there. Yeah, boom. So now I have my back, my right, my left, my front, my right, and my top. Bottom, I guess I should probably try and make a point right there. Right there, right there. Kind of come to the center, boom. And we'll call this Happy Center Town, which I will leave alone. Alright, so now I've got all 4 of my sides. Now I can figure out how I'm going to go ahead and take that down. I might just have to do it with a sander, because with all of the tools I have, one thing I do not own is a handsaw of any kind. You gotta walk up to the store and grab one. It's only a couple blocks. It's a beautiful sunny rainy day. Maybe not though, we'll see. I'm gonna try and put the camera over here. Use the old Dremel to wedge away at it. And see if I can maybe get a little something done. is working. It's doing it, but it's taking fucking forever. As you can see there, I tried the Dremel. Tried carving it with the Dremel. That was not working. Might have been using the wrong kind of sandpaper. But it's starting to take some shape. I think I might take off the corners here. Kind of round it down a little bit. Get a little bit more of an idea. It'd be nice to take more off in a big chunk and then start working on it, but for right this second, I got a pretty good start on this dude. Happy with the way it's turning out so far. Knock on wood. Popped into my head, I've got these metal grinders. Very curious as to what they'll do on this hard wood. I'm gonna give this a quick try. Just out of curiosity. Nothing. It's just burning it. Alright, I might find something. I think I might just have to do this with the orbital. Although it's gratifying, especially like slowly watching it come to fruition. I need to do something a little more faster. But this is just, like I said, it'll take me about 5 hours to do it like this. Switch to a metal cutoff wheel and try and drag it. It was working all right, kinda. It was mainly just burning it. Yeah, I'm not entirely cool with that. I think I'm gonna go back to the sander. Right, so as you can see, my battery died as I was sanding, and it just kept going. I basically just took off as much as I possibly could with the orbital, trying to get everything kind of symmetrical. I know that's centered, that's not centered, but you know, it's centered. The hole will be centered to this hole, so I'm not too worried. But for right this second, I'm at about hour 6 here, sanding and messing around with stuff, maybe 5.5 hours. But I'm going to be bringing this in a little bit more and tapering it. And bringing this in a little bit more right here. But the curvature is almost there. It's probably kind of hard to tell on TV, but or on whatever you're watching on. But sweet grain on top. It is going to follow it down, kind of melt it for me. It's be sweet, and I'm going to bring it together. I'm not sure if I'm ready to, you know, it fits in the hand good, so I'm thinking about keeping it this wide, and then going from there. But for right this second, that's pretty good. Now I got to break out the hand. I'm going to get some hand, some sponge sanding block things. You'll see what I mean. Yeah, and then I'll be able to finish it, get it more finished that way. as opposed to just throwing a power tool at it. So there we go. Alright, it is the next weekend and I am back to sanding this guy. Let's see how far I can get. I already returned the model one, but I took a nice long video of the shape of it. At this point it's kind of just customizing it to however I want, you know. I got the pretty good idea, so I'm going to take some of this down, probably about that much, you know, where it's a little bit lighter in there. Take that down and go from there. But right now, pretty much wherever I want it. I went to the store. I brought this is my preemptive sawdust. I got a bolt that I put on the steering wheel. It worked fine. Brought it to the store, tested it. Bought this guy. Didn't bother to test it. Got home and it didn't fit. This is the set screw. This is what you screw into the wood and it's threaded inside so that you can put it on your steering wheel. Glue this to the inside of it and then you get the point. But somebody had put it in the wrong box and I bought one. Didn't check it. It's my own darn fault. So right now I just saw my neighbor take off. I was going to wash my car, but since she's gone, I'm going to make some noise with the sander and get to work on this guy. Alright, I've gotten quite a bit further on this and it's looking pretty nice. My neighbor isn't back yet, so I've gone through 4 pads. Just pull out or 5 pads on this. So just gonna keep going, keep getting most of it off before I start going to the sanding foam pads I have for the finishing details. But yeah, it's really almost there. It's really getting there. Just doing some light sanding, trying to use fresh pads so I don't rough it up too much. Trying to keep it kind of bowed on the handles. Oh, also trying to get these. I'm not going to get these perfect until I hand sand, but I definitely want to get the exact shape and then fine detail it. But I'm super happy with the graining, how the graining looks on this. Just a cool layering. Really glad that I picked that particular direction. I'm going to make this front end come down a little bit more so that it is so that more of this kind of melts into it. I'm going to try and really expose as much of that as I can without taking away too much from the physical knob itself. But it's still a little too wide. This side's a little off, a little wider, so I'm going to take some more off of there and just keep going on it, you know. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, jeez. There's a lot of sanding. Got it pretty much where I'm going to want it. Pretty darn close. Might hit it up again a little bit. So the sides are a little wonky. But you know, that's what sanding blocks are for. So I assume I'll just be twiddling away at this for 5 years. If this even works on this wood. Oh man, that's a hard grit too. Yeah, I might have to go a little longer with the that's more like a finishing. Jesus. The other ones, I think it's harder. I don't even know. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more with the orbital, that's for sure. Throw a new pad on there, get closer. Close. Need to bring this in widthwise. I think I'll take it off the back, still bring a little off the front here. Trying to stay away from this side. Sounds like my plan. Gotta make this quick because I'm listening to the radio and I don't want to get a hit, but that's where I'm at. I switched over to hand sanding to bring it home, see where I get. Alright, I just spent, my camera died, and as I was taking that last shot there, as you can see, it's coming along really nicely. I'm very happy with where I'm at. The grainage looks great. I'm going to have to, there's some little pivots and some scratching going on from the tougher stuff. I tried using 2000 grit. I went from 60 to 2000, so I'm gonna have to get a bar that's like 120, maybe get like a 220 and go with that, try and get some of these finer scratches out of here. But yeah, for right now, I think I'm very happy with, switch hands here, the way it's gonna sit my hand, the way it holds, the way it feels pretty good. So now I gotta figure out my angle on it, and then gotta angle the bottom, but that's later. For right now, the next step, I'm gonna have to order some wax and sealant, refurbisher, and get this guy sealed up, and then I'm gonna finish sanding it, and then I'm gonna seal it up. I might stain it, I don't know, we'll see. Alright, so I got this guy shaved down. Took quite a bit more off, the bottom and the top and whatnot. Still dirty, got a little bit of wet hands, but it's coming along very nicely. Right now I'm going to start drilling pilot holes for my thread insert. Oh yeah. Alright, so this is my end game here. This guy, the outer diameter of this is just a little bit bigger than 1/2 inch, so I'm going to slowly work my way towards 1/2 inch. Smaller, larger, and then get to somewhere around this guy's range, somewhere here. I think this one might be, this is a 1/2 inch. Or, yeah, no, this one's a 1/2 inch, which is sitting right there. So I'll probably end up working my way to something like this, and then just slowly whittle out the center of it. I'll show you how I'm going to do it here. Alright, so my thought process is, got that dot pretty much centered. I'm going to, I only need to go this far in for this thing, but this sits a little high, so I definitely want to go through the depth of this, probably twice as far, so probably up to like there, drill into there. It doesn't really matter how much farther I go. I can fill it with wood filler after, but I want to make sure I get enough to let it sit in there, and then also have this be flush with that, but also have room for it to keep going. Yeah, so that's where I'm going to go be with that one. Alright, so I bring the stop nut all the way down. This tightens against this, so bringing this out, bring it all the way down one, and I'm going to back it out one full one, tighten that down. So that's going to be the height, plus I got a little bit of room to spin my thing around, spin my shift knob around, and then tighten this up so that it's straight forward. But for right now, I'm going off of this guy, and as you can see, looks like I'm rocking about, you can't see, neither can I, if it makes you feel any better. Right there. So I want to say 56/64 of an inch is going to be the depth that I want. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and measure that off, mark that off, see where that gets me. Alright, I got the first one drilled. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I actually marked the drill bit itself, and then rode up to the mark on the drill bit. Yeah, you can't really see it, disappeared. But I marked the drill bit at 54/64 of an inch. Got in there and got my first pilot hole done. On to the next one. Alright, got the insert in. Didn't really want to go in, so I put it on the knob itself and twisted it down until it went in there, and it is in there good. The only problem I have really is that it sits really high up, and I want it down more. So I'm actually going to want to take Quite a bit of what I just drilled through off out of the bottom here. Probably like a thumbnail's worth. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and then come back to re-drilling them. Well, you can see I took about half the threads off. It's definitely a lot shorter now. How much? We'll soon find out. I'm going to try and re-thread it, see where it sits in there. Alright, so I'm happy with my hole and my depth. Just going to put a little Gorilla Wood glue in there. Tighten her back down. Get it exactly where I want it and then just let it sit there for a while. After that, my next step is going to be to wax this sucker up. Feed and wax, wood polish. That should be interesting. Hopefully I'll be able to get this all polished up and ready to go here. Yeah, there it is. All goofy as hell looking. I have to figure something out about this. Maybe bring the nut through or something, or try and reconfigure that so that it sticks up a little more so it's not quite so awkward looking. But I got the wax on there. It's kind of hard to tell in this fucked up light, but she's on there looking good. A little goofy looking. I'd much rather it be stuck up like this, you know, so it looks more like that. But I don't know, it's pretty good for my first attempt at a shift knob, I reckon. Not the world's happiest with it, but I'm also not the most upset with it. I think it'd look a lot cooler if that nut was underneath there and I had the two pushed together. For right now, I think it's fine. I think it's just fine, just dandy. Just fine and dandy. But yeah, there it is. Shift knob, araba-daba-daba. Finally done with that. That was only like a 5-6 month fucking project. And I gotta finish cleaning up the yard. Doing all the sanding, a little bit of cutting, but well, I tried to cut, but then I gave up before I cut my hand off. So yeah, sweet. Finished that and got a new radiator in today. Awesome. Yay. Clean up and just